Finally, it's here. The brand new MG-S5 EV, and with it, the successor to the MG-ZS EV, which we introduced to you on this channel quite some time ago. That means we want to find out in 2 videos what the new MG can do better than the old one, and whether this might even be the perfect electric compact SUV for you on the market right now, I'd say. Let's dive in and explore its features. Before we kick off with the classic car review and the driving report, please check again if you're already part of the einfach elektrisch community. If not, we'd love for you to subscribe and support us. It's free for you, but a huge help for us. And now let's dive into the brand new MG-S5 EV. As always, we start from the outside, beginning at the front. Take a good look at the front of the new MG. And what I really like is that, as with many modern vehicles, you now also have the daytime running lights here. Separated from the main headlights, that's LED technology with adaptive functions. It's modern, fresh, and I find it also slightly performance-oriented design, which we always really like, all paired in the Anders Grey exterior color in a compact electric SUV. It starts at just over 37,000 euros, then with the smaller battery pack and 47 kilowatt hours of net capacity, offering a great balance of style, efficiency, and practicality. Here we have it as the long-range version with 62 kilowatt hours of net capacity, not in the comfort but in the luxury trim, where it also includes glossy black 18-inch alloy wheels for a sleek and premium appearance. Partial surfaces, high gloss, polished. I think the rims are a bit more about aerodynamics and less about design. And it's naturally designed to maximize range efficiency. We've installed 2.25 55R 18V tires here with Bridgestone for optimal performance. Yeah, I noticed the luxury variant has a bit of chrome on one side here, which looks really sharp and adds a stylish flair. Then we have the silver tone here with the roof rails, and down in the sill area there's a dark gray tone, a medium gray tone again. Again, it's like we somehow have 3 different colors with the high gloss polished wheels. The lower part of the disc is glossy black. Luxury also means privacy glass. Luxury also means a heat pump. And luxury also means, among other things, that you have integrated a charging plan into the route planning, and it's 2,000 euros more expensive than the comfort variant, starting at 42,990 euros. I'm the luxury type. And you?
Yeah, that's me too.
Yeah, otherwise we have, I think it's a normal, nice SUV design, which I believe a lot of people will really enjoy. Especially the rear section with the LED taillights, where we've got almost a seamless, continuous lighting strip here. It's modern, just slightly interrupted by the MG logo. A bit of chrome anodized right behind it. So overall, it looks very appealing. And then the rear section also has that mid-gray tone again. As I mentioned, I would have personally chosen a specific color direction, but that's just my taste. By the way, the luxury variant also comes with a 360-degree camera system, which could be quite handy for some during the test drive, especially when parking the car. Let's discuss the dimensions. It's 4 meters 47 in length and 1 meter 84.9 in width, so with side mirrors it reaches 2 meters. It still fits comfortably. Barely fits into the left lane, especially in the construction zone first. It's 1 meter 63 high. Just for comparison, I'm 1 meter 85 tall. The car has a wheelbase of 2 meters 73, and in between sits the battery pack, which offers a net capacity of 47.1 kilowatt hours. The motor positioned on the rear axle delivers a system performance of 170 horsepower in total. If you go for the larger battery variant that we have, then you get 62.1 kilowatt hours of net battery capacity installed. And here on the rear axle you have 170 kilowatts, 231 horsepower of drive power with 350 Newton meters of torque. And that's definitely some serious power, Stefan, to get those 1.8 tons moving, don't you think?
Surely should be enough.
It's charged here at the back on the driver's side, so to speak, on the left rear side, with AC 3-phase at 11 kilowatts, which is basically the standard we have, and it should take a good 6.5 hours to go from completely empty to fully charged. With DC, it can go up to 139 kilowatts at peak. So it should charge from 10 to 80% in 31 minutes. And that brings us to a second video which will follow in a few days, where we'll do a consumption test with a charging check and see how it goes. Whether it really charges from 10 to 80% in 31 minutes in everyday use. I think that's a solid value, Stefan, for this vehicle class. And around 30 minutes, that's always the desired target we all aim for. And the insider tip with MGs, don't focus on the gross list price, whether it starts at 37,190 euros or then as a long range at 42,000 euros, but instead have a chat with your trusted MG car dealer for the best deal. Now let's dive into leasing and financing options, because MG is seriously strong in that area and consistently offers some really attractive deals for every single one of their model series available. Two things I forgot to mention earlier before we take a look under the front hood. Top speed is 190 kilometers per hour, 170 kilometers per hour with the smaller battery, and 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 6.3 seconds. We'll test that out together, but for now let's do the hood inspection. That goes up quite significantly here. With the stick into the luck, I might have wished for 2 radiator fans, possibly some insulation too. We'll figure that out later when testing the interior noises and taking measurements. And what I might have also wished for is that they had integrated a small frunk here. What for? Maybe for your charging cable or other small items that you'd rather not expose to wet or muddy conditions during winter or rain, and then having to store them alongside your luggage in the rear trunk, which we'll check out shortly to keep things organized. That's exactly why we love the frunk. And that simply gave a bit more headroom. Now we want to listen here from MGB for a hood check how it sounds, or 3, 2, 1. Solid. Much more important than the front for many, rightfully so, is the trunk, the rear headroom, and there's also a front. If you go for the luxury variant, which costs around 2,000 euros more, you'll also enjoy the added convenience of an electric tailgate operation as part of the package. I think that's a fantastic feature to have, making it incredibly convenient to access the trunk electrically like that. And there you've got 453 liters of trunk space, all neatly fitted with a carpet and felt for added comfort and protection. And what I also really like is the double load floor here. That means you can, of course, adjust the levels in 2 stages. The charging cable's built in here. Below it, there's a toolbox with the first aid kit. Warning triangle and tire repair kit, in case you somehow, hopefully, don't end up with a flat tire. On the left and right, we have nice storage compartments. And look, Stefan, again with these nets when you fold the floor down. MG really thought this through well. Here we have 2 hooks on the left and right, where we can maybe hang a shopping bag or something similar for extra convenience. And what I really like, Stefan, is that we've got a solid and incredibly sturdy hat shelf right here. I'll show you that, where you can also place a bobblehead dog or a toilet paper roll or maybe even a coat, like it used to be done back in the day, and nothing wobbles around. Wobbles and sways. Yes, besides that, you of course have the option to fold down the back seat as well, adding even more versatility and space. Unfortunately, without a pass-through option, which I would have wished for because I can already spoil it, it has a center armrest with a small compartment for skis or a long object. I think it would be quite practical for some. You can fold down 40% on the passenger side, so to speak, or even the 60%, though I'm not sure if it might actually be 70-30. Looks more like 70-30 to me. Then just fold it down and it increases the total cargo volume from 453 liters up to 1,441 liters, right?
Plenty already.
Fits, right? So I'd say harder modes fit in there with harder body, right?
Definitely.
You could fit a small mattress and sleep in it overnight. Camping or something similar is really trending right now. Yes, let me guess, anything that goes up electrically will likely be electric with MG too, I'd assume. Beyond that, you've got the option to attach a roof load using a roof rack with a 75 kilogram capacity. And as an optional extra, you can even get a tow bar with a towing capacity of 750 kilograms, both braked and unbraked. Personally, I would have hoped for a bit more with the braked capacity, especially on a 12% incline, but that's how it is. Maybe the competition has. Feel free to write in the comments how you see the towing capacity. And what surprised me a bit, for my dear friends into the fine art of bike racking, only 30 kilograms of support load. After all, a bike rack has to count for something, right? Then with 2 bikes, you're already over. So I would have wished for 75, or better yet, 100 kilograms. I'm not entirely sure what that depends on, but please feel free to share your thoughts on the payload in the comments section as well. On the outside, we're done, let's move inside. First, we'll do the window check. This is just single glazing. Many manufacturers offer double glazing as an option with two panes connected by a film. He doesn't have it, I think, but he doesn't need it because I can imagine that even as is, it lets very little outside noise in. We'll check that out with you later. Yes, up here everything is very nicely soft, foamed underneath, textured. Yes, it's plastic, but I think it's perfectly fine for the price and vehicle class. Here we have something that looks like faux leather. It looks very, very nice, nicely textured. No glossy black anywhere here. And then here it's silver coated. I really, really like it a lot. Central locking. The window controls are also accented in silver color. Fits perfectly. Artificial leather, soft with foam padding. Artificial leather on the handle. Very high quality, I must say.
Definitely, yes. Looks good.
Down here we have the colleague hard plastic. Yes, but also nicely grained. I think it looks quite premium as well. But inside here, it's kind of missing a carpet or a rubber mat so that it doesn't rustle or rattle around during use or movement. And now let's take a look together before we get to the interior at the door check. Welcome to the interior, welcome to the dashboard, and at first glance, it genuinely seems to be quite nicely designed. There's no head-up display, but that's typical for this vehicle class. Not always present either. We have a nice, large driver information display that conveys all essential information very clearly and is easy to read at a quick glance while driving. We have a steering column that can be adjusted in both distance and height to perfectly fit our ergonomic seating position requirements. And we have a multifunction steering wheel flattened at the top and bottom, which is very, very nice, also equipped with tactile buttons. On the right, we have the wiper lever, where we can control all functions, including the corner wiper. On the left side, we have the turn signal lever, which also includes the headlight control. That's really well done. And of course, we've also seamlessly integrated the automatic high beam assist feature right here in this very convenient setup. Then at night, if you're driving there, of course. Beyond that, we've got a really impressive large infotainment display where all the key features are neatly organized and easily accessible on a home screen layout. You can see them very, very nicely side by side. That means we have navigation, we have the radio, and of course you can also switch to Bluetooth music or USB music, which you can connect via a USB interface. Or if you have a vehicle with Android Auto or Apple CarPlay wireless connected, then also the music playback function of the vehicle. We have a large climate control menu where, for example, you can also manage the seat heating and the steering wheel heating. You can also control them with quick access buttons down in the lower menu. I think that's really well done. And you also have the option to manage and adjust the climate automation system as needed. Once in the auto function or also in the AC function. Yes, beyond that, you have additional adjustment options here, allowing you to easily set the auto mode to low, medium, or high as needed. Though I have to say, even the low setting still feels a bit too strong for me personally. We've discussed the air conditioning with MG on several occasions already. You really have to, I think, go extremely high to get a warm interior, Stefan, right?
Yeah.
Since it cools down pretty quickly, we pretty much had to make the decision to switch it to manual mode for better control. Today, it's around 15 degrees Celsius outside, so we keep switching back and forth between AC and no AC, especially since sometimes we don't even need air conditioning at all. I think other manufacturers can handle that as well, perhaps even a bit more effectively than we do. Plus, you've got great online services like Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, and Amazon Music. You have a nice battery menu where you can of course also control the essential functions, meaning you can regulate the maximum charging. Or adjust the intelligently driven battery heater, which essentially means the car can also be preconditioned accordingly, ensuring it's always prepared and ready to go whenever you need it to be. You get perfect charging speeds, both in summer and winter. On top of that, we've included a vehicle-to-load function, letting you set your own discharge limit so you can draw up to 3.3 kilowatt from the battery to power devices outside the car whenever necessary. Yes, you also have the option to use just Bluetooth telephony if that's your preference. And Apple CarPlay is seamlessly integrated here, displayed in full size on the screen for a truly immersive experience. That means as an alternative to the in-car navigation system, you could also use Google Maps, for example, or any of the other apps you might have installed and integrated through Apple CarPlay to enhance your overall driving experience. Below this section, we also have the quick access buttons for adjusting the ventilation and temperature control settings. We have volume and mute controls, which I think are great, hazard lights, front windshield defrost, and also the rear window heater feature. That's also a great story. We have manual air vents here, which I think are well adjustable and, in my opinion, also come with a very, very nice and stylish design.
Ja, gefällig auf jeden Fall.
2 cup holders in a size that can easily and comfortably fit even larger bottles when necessary. Then we have here a holder where, for example, you can conveniently store a charge card or something similar. Here we have the adjustment of the driving modes, and we have the automatic parking brake plus the option with this Alcantara material. Everything here is again very high quality craftsmanship, and also the feature to inductively charge, a smartphone conveniently. Up here we also have a nice soft plastic. We've incorporated this structural element from the door again, which looks a bit like carbon or carbonara. Soft again here, but harder plastic below, though it's hardly noticeable. Everything here is softly covered with faux leather. A nice center armrest that you can also open with a large storage compartment, which has a rubber mat inside. And 2 USB-C ports along with the 12-volt socket, offering you the added convenience to power or charge multiple devices while on the road. This is also soft and has a foam-like texture. I really like it, and as a driver it gives me a very good ergonomics. What I missed, I think it was available in the ZSIW, but I'm not sure, was a panoramic glass roof. On the outside covered, comment if I'm right, a lot of people just opt for a glass roof. Neither of these options did I see in the configurator nor here in the luxury version. Right now, it looks like the only option available is the steel roof. Feel free to correct me in the comments if I'm wrong about that. Now let's take another look through the passenger door into the interior and see what else we can discover. Looking through the passenger door clearly shows you my ergonomic seating position, which works perfectly fine for my body type and height without any problems whatsoever. Here we've got super comfy and stylish seats crafted from a mix of fabric and faux leather for a sleek look. Unfortunately, unlike the driver's side, the passenger seat does not include electric adjustment or height adjustment capabilities.
Nee, gar nicht. Hier der Hebel ist nur für die Rücklehne. Leider nicht. Nee, keine Höhenverstellung.
It's truly a great pity that the Asian manufacturers frequently overlook or exclude the passenger seat height adjustment. For Europe, particularly since we likely have a significant number of taller people living here, who would really appreciate it just like you would, Stefan.
Yes, exactly.
What worked really well here is the division in the center armrest, where we have an additional storage compartment at the bottom, for example, for a men's wallet or a women's handbag. And what we also have here is, behind the hard plastic, a really nice glove compartment where we can store all sorts of miscellaneous items, though unfortunately it's not lined with felt or carpeting, which would have added a touch of premium quality. Yeah, what can always happen here on Strelitzer Chaussee is that the strap tends to keep rattling against the hard plastic. Maybe that's the only constructive criticism. I might have wished for a higher material mix at the door entry because it's just really hard. How do you always say it so nicely?
Well, it's just plastic, right?
And it does tend to get scratched and scuffed up pretty quickly, which can be a bit of a nuisance in the long run, Let's proceed to the seat test now. I'm 1.85 meters tall and fawn-like at 99.9 kilograms in weight. And naturally, we want to check out how the entry feels here. That's already looking fantastic. Back here in the rear seat, I'm sitting really excellently. The back seat is very comfortable, and I even have the center armrest, which is nicely padded and soft. Plus, it has 2 cup holders up here. You know my issue that sometimes my arm ends up in the cup holder. It's just about manageable, but I still wish the cup holders could fold out to give more armrest space for different positions. It would just make it that much better for longer rides or when you need a bit more flexibility. Body proportions, maybe have that option available, but that's just my personal opinion. Otherwise, I have about a fist's width of space here to the passenger seat. The passenger always sits locked against the B-pillar for us, so we can make a comparison between the different vehicles. I also have a good 1.5 fists of headroom, ensuring that even taller individuals will find plenty of space up here. When I step in here, Stefan, we also have nice ventilation vents on the center console, along with a USB-C charging port. I would have probably wished for 2 USB-C ports, maybe 1 for each passenger, to be honest. And of course, we also have child ISOFIX options on both the driver and passenger sides. Here, it's neatly covered with a faux leather material. and I genuinely think it looks fantastic.
Covered in faux leather, I really like it a lot.
For those who don't use it, the fabric is the same front and back, so the faux leather mix fabric also really appeals to me. Just like the rear seat backs. There's also a nice pocket here where we have the option to store a few things. Everything is seamless, even from the floor, so I think 3 people could probably fit here for a short distance. And otherwise, there's really little to criticize, except for where the seatbelt lies. Look right at the edge, exactly at the edge, and there it could potentially start to rattle over time, especially if you're driving on rougher roads or hitting bumps frequently. It's just something to keep an eye on. We'll definitely give that a bit of a test later on. Another thing I really like about MG is that they've used the same door trim at the front and back without making any distinctions. That's really, really great, and I have to say, sitting here in the back, I'm surprisingly comfortable, even more so than in some pricier and bigger vehicles I've experienced before, which is honestly quite impressive to me. We're not done outside yet.
What did we forget once more?
The channel lock, did you even notice it?
Nah, true, but I've gotten so used to it by now, honestly.
Yeah, we don't always bring it up since it bothers or triggers some.
Looks good, nice sound.
So even MG managed to do without the fin in such a compact electric SUV and integrate the technology into the body, the windows, and the exterior mirrors. Yes, now we've covered the exterior, we've also covered the interior, and now we're moving on, of course, to the driving experience and want to experience the MG S5 EV together during the drive. We're ready to get started, and first of all, we'll naturally take a closer look together at the vehicle's turning circle here. And in the datasheet, I found 10.50 meters, and it's indeed 10.50 meters because I can smoothly and easily maneuver really tightly around Stefan with the MG S5 EV. Even more important than the turning radius, of course, for many, is the ability to park effortlessly with the MG S5 EV. And here, the luxury variant in particular comes equipped with several handy features. For instance, it includes helpful tools such as the rear view camera, connected with a 360-degree camera. As you see, I'm arriving by train. For once, hey, I'm in a really good mood today, right? And there's no applause, so...
The fly on the screen is almost about to start applauding.
Great, so you can switch the camera again, then also focus directly on the rims as well. There are quite a few colleagues of ours who aren't entirely sure about it, who worry about scraping the rims if they don't have that option or can't adjust the mirrors accordingly. So, from that perspective, right up to the front camera, which we're now using here, it's truly a great and highly practical solution. Look, you can also turn off the vehicle transparency now if you'd like, so you can have a clear view of the car. That's also a really cool feature. Radar wall, guidelines so you know where you're driving, and the automatic steering activation system is included. That's also a cool feature. If we're at a traffic light, we probably have something like a blind spot warning there. So the 360-degree camera system can actually do quite a lot, and you can see here really well when Stefan pans a bit to the right that I actually can't see much through the parked car, but with the 180-degree front camera, I can still make out quite a bit more than I would have initially expected to see. And this way we can also very, very smoothly and confidently maneuver out of the parking spot together, just like that, without any hassle. Yes, we have this wonderful cobblestone where it naturally, you know how it rattles and clatters? I think it's also the strap that's located at the back.
Ah yes, it's twitching a bit there.
So you see, an insert in the doors would have made sense, but it's still a nice pothole. And I can already tell you in the first few meters, no, we've obviously been driving the car for a bit longer before we started recording this video. It's very taut and comfortable with a very European suspension setup.
Very good.
So you're really going to enjoy this if you love tightness. He's not here The rocking horse is a thing of the past, much like the first Asian vehicles in Europe. Here, it's about people who truly crave that sense of tightness and precision in every single aspect. They want to take swift cornering, I believe, and a warm welcome to the MG S5 EV is here waiting for you. We've arrived at our world-famous regional test track here, and I can confidently say that the MG handles these corners with impressive speed, precision, and agility, making it an absolute delight to drive. And the 170 kilowatts of its electric motor on the rear axle, combined with the 350 Newton meters of torque, consistently deliver solid and dependable driving performance. Let's put that to the test now by taking this curve at a swift and steady pace right over here. And what the MG is particularly well known for is constantly chiming and beeping non-stop whenever it doesn't like something at all. But you can of course turn that off in the menu. I probably should have done that before starting the drive, right?
Well, nope, that's it all.
When it keeps ringing and ringing here, yeah, we'll definitely include the Suzuka S here. Our left-right combination here smoothly through the forest, and he doesn't push or lose grip on the front wheels either. He's handling it really, really tight, but it still feels comfortable enough, don't you agree with that point, Stefan?
Right, really comfy, isn't it?
So, as I drive along these lines a bit, it starts beeping. We've arrived at our second test track. You know that sharp right turn, where just two choices exist? Either the turn or the field, or in the worst case, the tree. But he manages that really masterfully every time. Strangely enough, it doesn't push over the front axle like other SUVs typically do. You might need to build up a bit more tension to feel the difference. But that just shows how this taught. Yet comfortable chassis truly manages to execute its job exceptionally well. We've arrived at our internationally recognized test track for the 0 to 100 kilometers per hour. Acceleration, where we've frequently managed to outperform the factory specifications, like here with a time of 6.3 seconds. Stefan, the Draghi is all set, the GPS antenna is ready to go as well. That means you could start the countdown now.
3, 2, 1, go ahead right now.
He's taking off in sport mode, 30, now he's really picking up speed, 50, 70, 90, 100. And of course, we also want to perform the brake check together with you guys right now. We're really pushing it hard. Oh, he's pulling strong, isn't he? The acceleration is impressive.
Yes, good. So what do we have? We have 0.5 in 3.18, 0.6 in 3.73, 0 to 0, 100 in 7.04, and 100 to 0 in 2.55.
Those are really good deceleration values during braking. Yes, during acceleration. We are lagging behind by about 0.7 seconds. We deliberately switched to sport mode. He would have liked to match the factory specification there.
Yeah, that would have been really nice.
We want to take this curve at a brisk pace at 100 kilometers per hour. That's the maximum allowed speed here. And here he's really pushing forward with some serious momentum, but now also easing up a little more on the front axle. I was already wondering why he didn't do that at the lower speeds, to be honest. It's still very much within a tolerable range, and you can move along quite briskly with it even on those slightly bumpy and winding country roads like the ones here, without any issues. Of course, we also want to head in the opposite direction with you to perform the cross-check and see how it feels. Here it's nicely undulating and it stays firmly on track, doesn't get pushed outward or lose its line at any point along the way here. He's really doing that very, very neatly. The suspension is quite firm, but still manages to comfortable. You really have to say, Stefan, or yeah, it's pleasant even as a passenger. And so of course you can also take brisk cornering with the MGS5 EV. It goes here briefly to the right before we then also come up to a nice, sharply taken left turn with a few bumps, but I have to say the chassis handles it brilliantly. We naturally want to test the voice control with you, maybe in connection with some navigation or maybe even adjusting the climate settings. Let's see how it performs. Route planning. To do that, we say, "Hello MG."
How may I assist you today?
Continue on your route to Munich to reach Viktualien Markt number 1 without any detours. Taking long?
No search results could be found.
Yeah, we tried that a few times. Somehow it's not working. That means we'll have to bring back colleague Manuel now. Into the picture? Or Stefan?
Well, nothing else helps.
Munich. Munich is good. If we go ahead and choose Munich, bam, the system will calculate the route right here for us instantly. That seems relatively smooth, right? Come on. Well, it'll work out. We'll take a look. And then we can basically start our navigation here as well, just like we had originally planned and fully intended to do so now. In addition, we have the option here to probably display something else as well, if we decide that's what we want to do. I find it kind of a bit... Well, you probably have to get into it, right, Stefan?
It's really not that intuitive at all, to be honest. It's quite tricky and not at all straightforward to figure out.
So you can easily zoom in here, and it's actually pretty smooth. In the luxury version, we're also expected to include the charging planning as part of the overall setup. I don't see any charging stations here right now, do you?
You can see the range circle, that's visible. Okay, no, but I don't see any planning features here.
We can go back to the charging planning now. Here comes the search for charging stations, but I also find the percentage charging plan here. I'll go into it again, and then I probably don't have any charging planning here. We have, of course, also considered everything in the settings to try and eliminate any error messages somehow. That means we have, of course, also set everything up in the settings to ensure that all potential issues are addressed and that the system is configured for optimal performance. So you can also adjust the battery state at the destination or even at the charging station. Setting up charging facilities here causes it to endlessly search for providers in the area, which can be quite dangerous and problematic. That means you can always lock the car, restart it, and keep repeating the process until you eventually achieve a proper working result. You just can't really exit the navigation here. It's kind of a bit oddly designed, almost like it's intentionally locked in or restricted. We can close it here now. We're going back into the navigation one more time. Now it's going back. Thank goodness we had a route in, otherwise we would have had to lock the car again. So in my opinion, MG could definitely improve their software in this regard, because I haven't been able to find or access the charging planning feature anywhere this way. Please comment if I made any user-related mistakes. But we really tried out all the sub-menus and settings of Stefan, right?
Ja, wirklich.
I want to reset the car system and lock it up. You know what I mean? So
Then, at the end of the day, let's be honest, it has to work intuitively right from the start. So you can't really be expected to navigate through 23 submenus of a test vehicle just to get a charging plan. So I think that's a bit weak on the software side, and we still have, like we've experienced with other MG vehicles, that the software feels like it's always lagging a tenth of a second behind. When you press something, I mean, you know, like it just doesn't respond instantly.
yeah, it always takes a while. Either there's no fast processor behind it or the haptics are just off. Yeah, that's true.
It always takes that little moment of hesitation, right? Look at that. Well, that's just how it is. We want to take a look at the interior noise with you at 50 kilometers per hour. "53, 54, 55 decibels, very quiet. Now speeding up to 70 kilometers per hour. 58, 59 decibels, that's also very, very quiet. The ID.3 showed 70 decibels there. We accelerate to 100 kilometers per hour. 64, 65 decibels. Even here it's 10 dB quieter than a VW ID.3. And with that, MG, despite the single glazing, has, I think, insulated the S5 EV very, very well. We want to test out the assistance systems here in the MG S5 EV with you, but somehow we're still struggling to find the right setting. That means we've now located the adaptive cruise control here, though we're still figuring out how to activate it properly. But somehow, there's no support coming from the steering wheel at all. That means it looks like the steering assist and the lane keeping assist aren't active or available yet for some reason here. But we'll take a look at that in the onboard menu right away. Now we've got 70 kilometers per hour coming out of the traffic sign recognition, picked it up, but it didn't transfer it to the adaptive cruise control speed. We'll do it manually, checking the setting now, be right back. The lane keeping assistant was deactivated, most likely due to me turning off this beeping sound earlier in these preset configuration settings. We'll have to keep that in mind, Stefan. And now we also have a nice lane keeping assistant, which will hopefully keep us in the center with a steering assistant of the lane. Nope, it doesn't. Look where it's going.
Nee, okay.
South. I haven't found it here now. We'll take a third look through the settings here now, but other MGs were able to do it, I believe, to maintain the center of the lane consistently without any issues at all. Now I'm feeling a bit confused and slightly unsure. We're leaving the town area behind. The traffic sign recognition immediately switches to 100 kilometers per hour, but with the adaptive cruise control, I have to manually increase it to 100 kilometers per hour now. so that the MG accelerates accordingly. Yes, we basically double-checked everything once more with low alarm sensitivity, which also provides the highest level of assistance. The emergency lane assistant completely failed. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to drive into the opposing lane since I didn't make any steering input here. And as you can see, the support here is also more towards the left edge, but still it's not quite where it needs to be positioned. The stronger the curve becomes, he just drives out. Then here on the steering wheel, we don't have capacitive control, but actually have to jerk the steering wheel back and forth so he recognizes it, that we are alert, even though he does have a monitoring camera here as well to constantly check whether we are distracted or not at all times. Yeah, I would have wished for all that. I'm not really sure what the reason is though. I actually assumed that it would have some kind of steering assist because look, Stefan, here's the symbol as well, but I can only activate or deactivate it here. And when I turn it back on and set a speed, it just doesn't seem to function the way I originally thought it would. Yeah. Then it maintains the speed, but it doesn't really keep to the center of the lane. But look, now it detected the lane marking again. It manages that. And here on the left, it would correct itself again. But it's still not holding the center of the lane properly at all. And it also didn't take over the speed once again this time either. Yeah, so I'm just hoping for an improvement because as it is, we basically just have a lane keeping assist with an adaptive cruise control.
Right, nothing else there.
We're excited to test out the sound system with you by playing our own track, Simply Electric, and see how it all comes across in this space. Sounds good, right?
Yeah, there's nothing particularly noteworthy or anything, at least nothing has been found yet.
Yeah, but somehow it doesn't have that punch. I mean, I don't hear it, no driving bass either. It's just a decent room sound. That's how I describe it. Nothing too overpowering or intense, just a balanced acoustic presence. So I think I might have even expected, when I see what some have installed by default, a tiny bit more, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it would have been really nice, you're right.
So it doesn't sound bad, right?
Number.
But somehow it's still missing that.
Just a bit of kick bass, you know. That's certainly something, right? You know what I'm talking about?
The cobblestone here fits perfectly with our next point, and that is, of course, the driving and travel comfort, whether you're navigating the city streets or cruising through the countryside. And here we obviously have a fantastic tool on board, which is Stefan's popometer. It's naturally calibrated, vaccinated, and who knows what else it's been through. At any rate, for over 5 years, it's been our benchmark for travel and driving comfort, Stefan. How's it holding up today?
Yes, I always start with the seats. I find them very comfortable. I would have liked a bit more lateral support, to be honest. But it's still comfortable to sit in, even the fabric seats. I just think it's a shame that I can't adjust the seat electrically here, especially the height. Because I'd really like to be able to sit a bit lower. Because like this, I always feel like I'm sitting on a throne.
Throne?
Well, here on the throne of, I don't know, wherever Blumholz happens to be at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty tight in here, huh? Yeah.
South. No, I think the suspension is nice. That's our favourite box. Exactly, which will, of course, drive as per regulations.
In terms of the suspension, I think. Yes, it's nice and tight, it's comfortable. Yeah, it doesn't exactly tear out the trees, to be completely honest with you. So bumps and such, it handles them quite pleasantly, it's all neat. Yeah, otherwise I'm actually satisfied.
Yeah, I think if you're looking for a tight and comfortable ride, you'll definitely appreciate the chassis. It's very European in feel. In certain situations, I feel like it definitely hits quite hard and firmly, no question about it. I just find it a bit harsh. You know, for an electric compact SUV, it's not a sports car, so it feels a bit too intense for its intended purpose and design. In the MG Cyberster, I'd say, hey, cool, awesome, 500 horsepower, and it needs to be nice and tight so you can really carve through the corners. But in an electric SUV, especially right here with this manhole cover, it's definitely pretty rough.
Indeed, yes, but I'd say it would have been nice if there was at least some adjustability so you could set it a bit softer or something like that.
Not expected in this price range.
No, unfortunately not. But I would say, compared to some other Chinese manufacturers that are really very soft and tend to wobble and such, This one is probably just too stiff in comparison, making it feel a bit rigid and less balanced overall in that specific context.
Yes. So in the end, you might have to form your own opinion on it and decide for yourself. And with that, let's move on to the interim conclusion with the MGS5 EV. Interim conclusion because we'll be releasing a second video in a few days, where you'll get a detailed consumption test along with a thorough charging check. This will allow you to form a much more comprehensive final judgment, and we'll also take the opportunity to share our own final thoughts and opinions with you in that upcoming video. Interim conclusion, on the outside I find it very well done. It's become a nice car. Inside there's a lot of space, especially in the rear, which I found surprisingly good and comfortable. Sat comfortably and otherwise with the electric motor on the rear axle, they got everything right. Solid power, 170 kilowatts, 350 Newton meters, 190 kilometers per hour top speed, offering brisk, rapid acceleration. It all turned out really, really well. As for the suspension, opinions are divided there. Those who like stiff suspensions will definitely be giving it a thumbs up. Those who prefer to glide as smoothly and comfortably as on a sedan chair might find it a bit less to their personal taste. Too firm. That's why we always recommend creating your own impression. Stop by your nearest MG dealer and take the MGS5 EV for a test drive to truly experience it for yourself firsthand. Please don't get distracted by the gross list prices. Instead, take a look at the options MG might offer in the leasing and financing areas, because I could imagine there that this car here could be super interesting for one or another of you, especially with the deals they're offering. Finally, let's take another look at the consumption, Stefan, because we actually completely forgot about that. Over 799 kilometers, we achieved a consumption of 20.2 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers driven, at an average speed of around 53 kilometers per hour during the drive. I think that's actually quite decent for such a compact electric SUV, especially since we were on the highway a lot, driving at around 120 kilometers per hour and also in the city. Don't you think?
Yeah, it's good.
And with that, you should actually be able to get around 300 kilometers of range on a full charge, which is pretty solid for most daily commutes. And with that, we've also reached the end of the first video with the MGS5 EV. And as mentioned, in a few days, the second video will follow with the consumption test and the charging check. Yes, I would appreciate it if you could share your thoughts about the car in the comments. Let's dive into a discussion about how you feel about this new electric SUV. I'm genuinely super curious to hear all your thoughts and opinions on the vehicle. Otherwise, we'd of course be happy if you give this video a thumbs up, and please double check if you're part of the einfach elektrisch community so you don't miss the second video with the consumption test and charging check. A subscription is free of charge, but it's also a big help for us to maintain the channel. I say thank you very much for watching, stay healthy and see you soon. Your OLLI, you, Stefan. Well, isn't that a bit oversized, the MG logo? Or do you think it fits proportion-wise?
As they say, if you've got it, flaunt it. That's how you can make a statement when you're like that.
But isn't less often more?
At times, less is more.